Hello everyone and welcome back to Monsters of the Mind. As always, I'm your host Mr.G. Today we're here in those chilly Himalayas to talk about one of the most famous cryptids of all time. That's right, today we're talking about Bigfoot's cousin, the Yeti. Yeti means bear from rocky place. I am not joking, by the way. That is legitimately what Yeti is derived from. Anyway, I consider them a species, since like most cryptids, I refuse to believe that a single entity can have this many sightings. Like most cryptids, they're pretty morally neutral, they live in the Himalayas, and they're an Asian cryptid. Now, some of you might question why I decided to separate Bigfoot and the Yeti. I have my reasons. The Yeti, also known as the Abominable Snowman, is described as being a giant ape, looking quite similar to Bigfoot. Interestingly enough, despite popular belief, almost no Yeti sighting has had white fur. Rather, almost every single person who's seen a Yeti claims that they have reddish-brown fur. The Yeti is also described as being both bigger and more aggressive than Bigfoot. It is said that the Yeti lives in the Himalayan mountain range, and according to historians, the Yeti seems to be based on a pre-Buddhist god who was also a giant ape that carried a big rock. The first Western report of the Yeti occurred in 1832 when a man named B.H. Hodgson recounted his tour guides in Nepal spotting a large bipedal creature and freaking out about it. During the 20th century, sightings started to really take off, with there being reports flooding in from pretty much everyone who went to Nepal. Some proposed evidence over the years includes supposed footprints, hair samples, and even alleged bones. Now, personally, as for my thoughts on the Yeti, I have some problems with it. For one, nearly every piece of evidence has been proven to be a hoax. The footprints are some of the easiest form of evidence to fake, as I said in my Living Dinosaurs video. Secondly, all the hair samples have been shown to belong to either bears or yaks, and all those bones I mentioned earlier have turned out to also belong to bears, which makes sense since bear bones do look pretty simian when viewed in fractured pieces. I also have issues with this guy from an evolutionary perspective. For one, a lot of people say the Yeti is a Gigantopithecus, but those guys are quadrupeds and the Yeti is almost always shown as a biped. Gigantopithecus also lived in tropical jungles, while the Yeti lives in the snowy mountains in Nepal, where Gigantopithecus would most likely freeze to death. There's also the fact that Yetis would have pretty much no niche to fill, so as such, if it was real, then it seems like it would be a pretty redundant species. Finally, most sightings can easily be explained by the fact that the people making them probably just saw a bear or something. But that's just my 2 cents. What do you guys think? Do you actually think there's a giant ape living in the Himalayas? And in order to prove that there's no giant ape out here, I tied Eric up as bait in order to attract Yetis. Hey guys, I'm doing just fine! Oh, by the way, I got over my concussion since Mr. G's dad has the cure for those. Ignore him. My dad doesn't have the cure for that. Where would you ever get an idea like that? Unfortunately, Vincent couldn't be here. His father's sick, so he's taking care of him. So, let's move on to the card. Sheesh, this is ugly. I have no idea what they were trying to go for with this design. It's, wait a minute. Does he have a pinhead? 'Cause look at him. There is clearly hair going up in a conical shape. Does this guy have a pinhead? Also, they gave him claws, even though apes don't have claws. Anyway, let's get to point deductions. For one, he has white fur, but as I said earlier, that's a common misconception. Almost every actual report of a Yeti gives it brown fur. Secondly, much like Mongolian deathworm, with the whole it was illegal to talk about the worm thing, this card makes a claim that I have not seen repeated anywhere else. It says that the Nepalian government offered a $10,000 reward to whoever could bring proof of the Yeti. I looked this up. I looked up as many keywords as I could. I tried every combination of keywords I could find, but I could not find a single other source that talked about this. So what is their source here? Also, it shows a picture of an alleged Yeti hand fossil. However, those have been proven to belong to bears, so the fact that they're claiming that this is from an unknown creature is kind of funny to read nowadays. Overall, I give this card a 7 out of 10. Now let's look at Yetis in popular culture. Well, some of them at least. Oh, also, in order to distinguish from Bigfoot, I'm only including creatures that are either explicitly called Yetis or are clearly supposed to be based on Yetis. Creatures called Bigfoots or are explicitly meant to be Bigfoot are in the Bigfoot video. a Yeti appears in Castlevania. And yeah, I know this kind of looks like Bigfoot, but the game calls it a Yeti, so I have to include it here and not in the Bigfoot video, so, yeah. The Pokemon Abomasnow is based on the Yeti. There's the animatronic Yeti at Disneyland's Matterhorn. There's the Yeti from the old PC game Ski Free. There's the Bumble from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, which is clearly based on the Yeti. The Yeti appeared in Monsters, Inc. There's the Warner Brothers movie Smallfoot, which, get this, it's about Yetis who think that humans are the monsters. Isn't that such an original idea? We thought something was the monster, but the monsters think humans are the monsters. Isn't that an original idea? There's the DreamWorks movie Abominable, which is also about Yetis. The Yeti was a subject of an episode of Lost Tapes. There's the Star Wars creature known as the Wampa, which is based on the Yeti. Yetis appear in Zoo Tycoon. And there's the boss known as Megapithecus from Ark Survival Evolved, which is based on the Yeti. I can never escape this series. I will never escape this game. Well, that's all for this episode of Monsters of the Mind. Join us next time when we take a look at a group of girls who will rock your world. Get it? Get it? We're doing Gorgons next time. You know, can I stop being bait now? I'm getting kind of cold out here, and also I'm hungry. Who dares disturb the sleep of the abominable snowman? Abominable snowman? I thought you were like a giant gorilla or something. That's what Mr.G just said. What? Do not conflate me with that stupid ape! I am sick and tired of everyone thinking that me and that stupid monkey are the same guy! And for that, now, you will die!